down below the dam, as well as the leopard tracks that I found, Karula's tracks. They're suddenly making for cover. Almost as though they suddenly know that the focus is on them. But the third time now that I've seen these geese come over to the duck and her ducklings, whether it's because this is the best cover for them, or whether they all feel safety in numbers, and the geese feel that, well, if anything's going to happen, it's going to happen to a duckling rather than one of us. I don't know, but it is quite strange. And as soon as we appear, they all swim across to this side and they all gather together. And then we've got a gosling and a duck feeding together. Oh, the two goslings. Ducks are gone. Uh-oh, we missed Hippo. He's upside down. Feet in the air. Okay, let's go forward. Pardon? Bring all the ducks in a row. There's number 6, just flying out of a tree now. Okay, nothing happened to the geese this morning. No? Gonna roll over for me again. Wishful thinking. Okay, let's get some Air movement. Pretty hot afternoon. Take a ride. Been buffalo through here since this morning. We're going to go further east on Elephant Skull down to Twin Dams Road and then make our way across the Mawati to Central Road. After a brief visit at Chelapan, saw a crocodile there earlier today. It was lying out of the water, and as we were saying goodbye to everyone, he slipped back in. Of course. There's another thunderhead brewing in the southeast. That'll move north though. We'll be able to watch it as it grows and swells and bursts. And behind that, another one brewing, marching up from the south. One of our largest butterflies. This one that's flying in front of us, but oh gee, to have a butterfly stay still to film it is another matter entirely. Gone off into thicker bush and back to the road. It is feeding. It might hover on a plant, but never long enough. Oh, it's gone. It's the citrus swallowtail. Papilio demodocus. Farley. Right, is this giant reptile here or not? The other day we came looking, we couldn't find it in the afternoon. Possibly because it was overheating. A small pan of water like this, the water stays quite warm. And sometimes when a crocodile needs to regulate its body temperature, lie half in the water and half out. But if the water is just as warm as the air, then I guess Induna's spot underneath this gardenia could be a spot where this crocodile is lying. Too thick in there to have a look. Let's see. Try the other side of the gardenia. Would be the perfect ambush spot for a croc. And when you're lying in that bush, you can see the world outside. The world can't see you. It's like a cat. When cats hide, they find one tiny little hole to look out at the world. But nobody can see them. Right now, I don't see this crocodile. Suppose I could go catching some frogs, see how quick the crocodile appears. Maybe not today. I did bring some rubber gloves as well. latex gloves, just in case I needed to catch a crocodile and bring it to the camera to show you. He's a bit big, about 8 foot. I don't know if I'd have the strength to hold him up. Okay. Let's take, what shall we do? Nyala Road South, Vulture's Nest. Anyone got any suggestions? Oh, that cloud is looking really pretty. It's going to turn into an anvil soon. Starting to become anvil shaped. Strong urine smell down here, man. I think it's buffalo. We'll take Nyala Road South. Huge tortoise, giant leopard tortoise. That's about as big as they come. I'm gonna go and stand next to it, give you an idea of size. That is a tortoise that has survived many a leopard, lion and hyena. The front serrated edges above its legs, above its front legs on its carapace, have been chewed. It's missing probably about an inch on the right hand side. You can see the bite marks and the chew marks where that's more likely lion. I've noticed lion do that. Now they'll hold a tortoise in their paw and they'll just chew on the shell because they don't know what else to do. And that's possibly through the ages. I mean, that tortoise is probably about 30, 40 years old maybe. Got to be quite an old one. Has seen his fair share of predators and fires and floods. Got a very muddy back. He's actually been sitting with his back in the water somewhere. And sometimes when you meet a soul like that, it's an animal that is as harmless as it is. It has seen countless things over the years. One can only wonder what it has been through. Especially with all those bite marks on it. And then along comes Mark and stresses it out even more. Well, I hope not. Didn't seem to stress it out too much. But I just had to feel the texture on the front and one spot on the back where it has a rather unusual scale pattern, shell pattern. A leopard tortoise, also known as a mountain tortoise, Geochelonia. Maybe just the little mud wallow he was sitting in. Sorry, Pat, didn't get any of that. Couldn't understand that. Question in chat room, unfortunately, didn't quite get it. sorry. Sounds like a question from Mike about lion prides. Into the pride or something. I'm hearing you, Pat, but I'm not understanding the question, I'm afraid. Difference between Into the Lion Pride and Into the Lion's Den, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know, maybe he must be joking. I don't quite understand the question there. There's a real such thing as a lion's den. Heard about lion's den since biblical times. There isn't really such a thing as a lion's den. Sure, when a lioness is having cubs, she will be denning. I guess you could call it then the lion's den, but it's not a place where the whole pride goes to sleep. But Mike in chat, I'm still not quite sure what it is you want. What answer you're looking for. I'm looking for elephant tracks. There was some elephant at Gari Dam earlier. And I want to see if we can pick up on where they went, where they headed to. I'm guessing Gari Katlach. Go away, fly. Gari Katlan. Sorry, Spider, but this is gonna be necessary. Quite often the elephants head into this drainage line after Gari Dam. I don't remember what time they were there. Warthogs in the road. Trotting away. Very shy little creatures, the warthog. Not normally so, I don't know, it just seems to be this part of the world. And they're off. They're fine if we just drive past and pretend not to notice, but as soon as we stop to look at them, they take off. Doesn't look like they came past Gary Cut Line. We're going to head up the fire break back to Mvubu Road. Instead of Purples of Cut Line, we'll take the fire break. Slender mongoose. I think I must have gotten a fright. Normally don't get that close to a slender mongoose. Preoccupied with something. Chewing on a beetle perhaps. Dashed in front of the car. Afternoon guys, I did Treehouse Chelapan onto Nyala Road South. I'm now on fire break from Gary Cut Line going to Mvubu Road. Porcupine quilt. The porcupine, I think it uses this fire break every evening all the way. I guess it could be 2 porcupines or more even. There's that porcupine that hangs around Aubrey's roadway junction with Gary Cut, Shortcut Gallagher and Purples of Cut Line. And I'm still not seeing any elephant tracks. Spiders a little bit low. Oh, these are different species to the normal one. There we go. I really hate breaking their webs, and if we can avoid it, we do. Drop the antenna. Okay, let's see what Mvubu Road has to offer. Hey, I'm coming. Confirm you on Zoe's. Okay, thank you. Well, I think that must be where they are. We tell the access road up near Zoe's Road. Ephraim was saying he could see one of the herd there. Very thick bush. Visual is 1 out of 5, which means rather poor. And by the time we get up there, they might have moved. Try and keep an eye out, keep track of it. Might explain why we're not finding any sign of them having come this way. They must have gone around the lodge and headed west. We can hope to finally maybe catch up with them in a short while. Good afternoon, Vivian. How are you today? Hi there. Vivian wants to know a little bit about animal territories here at Djuma Game Reserve. Do we have any animals here that are strictly territorial? And is it seasonal, or is it only for mating and denning? It's quite a broad subject, Vivian. There's a very interesting book written by a playwright by the name of Peter Ardrey, I think it was, called The Territorial Imperative. It actually gives a little bit of insight into, I suppose, the reasons for territorial development, the reasons for ownership of territories. For a lot of species, mating, everything else in their life can't take place until they establish and maintain a territory. Obviously not everything does have a territory. The worst piece of road in the whole of Djuma is this little patch. It's so bumpy. For one thing, territories of animals are only established to fend off members of the same species. So a leopard's territory, for example, has nothing to do with the lion's territory, or it's got nothing to do with the lion in general. Oh, look at this elephant have been down here at this gardenia. Why a gardenia, children? It's just being mafufunya. So an animal that does have a territory is not really interested in any other species coming through its territory, unless we're talking of, say, leopard and lion. The territory is established to protect it against other members of the same species, but because leopard and lion compete for the same food source, they are somewhat in competition with each other, and they might not. Well, they'll disregard each other's territories, but they will fall within each other's territories, so there will still be conflict. But the conflict is not territorial. The conflict is merely competition, I suppose. Now, I suppose if we're looking at territories, things like Steenbok and Duiker, the small antelope have very small territories. I suppose what I can start by saying to you, Vivian, is that none of the territories are seasonal. None that I can think of. I mean, a chameleon has a territory. Snakes have territories. African wildcat. A lot of the small animals have territories. Genet has a territory. Even small primates, the bush babies, have territories. And every animal has its own means of marking and maintaining that territory. And invariably, those very specific methods of marking and maintaining the territory are ignored by other species. Hippos have territories. I suppose you could say the rhino have territories, but they're more like a home range than a territory. Just to distinguish the two. A territory is an immediate home area of an animal. A home range is an area that that animal might move in outside of its territory that will incorporate either feeding or drinking grounds. Hello everybody. Oh, how about that buffalo that we saw tracks of on our Chelapan? Djuma Waterhole, Kari Dam. Let's take Karula for example. Karula's territory is about perhaps just a little bit bigger than the area that we know of as Djuma, our traversing area, or the area that is owned by Djuma, which is why we mainly only see Karula. Very seldom see other leopards. We do see other males, the likes of Yambilu Yordan, the father of her cubs, Mafufunya and her father, and of course we've had white cross young male comes through this territory, and yet we don't get many other females coming through this territory, because Karula will defend her territory against other females quite strongly. But they probably wouldn't even venture this far, and they would pick up her scent. She constantly marking her territory. They would pick up her scent, and they would be aware of there being a territorial leopard here, so they probably wouldn't venture into this area anyway, because no animal is really looking for conflict, especially a predator. Conflict happens, but no animal really wants to set out looking for it, because conflict leads to injuries. Injuries can lead to a major problem, because especially with a hunter, any injury can hinder their hunting ability. And despite the fact that we have a number of animals that are territorial here at Djuma, we can't always see them, because, well, at the moment the vegetation is very thick, but especially on a hot day like today, it is highly energy consumptive to be out in this heat. So most of the animals will be lying down in the shade somewhere, and even a buffalo, as big as it is, lying in the shade just off of the road, can become invisible on these tall grasses, these tall plants. Came the wrong way. I wanted to go around the other side. But now that we're here, we have some impala, which are not really territorial. The bulls will maintain a territory during the rutting season. And I suppose you could say, what? They have home ranges. I mean, we always see the same impala, because they don't really go to very different areas. These are always the same impala we see here on the big open area that is known as Quarantine. Hello, children. Let's get to the west of them and we can look back. Excuse me, just ambling through here. There's the one-horn ram. There's the young ram who had his horns touching when he was younger. They're feeding on monkey pods. Stronger breeze blowing. It's actually nice and not as hot up here. A nice cool breeze blowing. Well, once you're in the shade, that is. Okay, not a great visual because they're all in that. Let's move up. It is so nice to be amongst animals that are very relaxed with us, with our presence. We've got a pilot right next to me here. Totally unconcerned. But to have them relaxed. Now, there was a time when I was living in East Africa. Well, I did for a number of years. And the Selous Game Reserve, when I first got there, was quite wild. And as large as it was, there were only 4 operational camps, and the camps were so spread out that we never really saw each other on drives, and the animals were very, very shy. They used to run away from the vehicle a lot. And some people would say, oh, that's so nice, animals running away from the vehicle, and I used to try and say to them, but it's not that great, because you don't get to see the animals engaging in their natural behavior, as opposed to this kind of situation where sitting with all these impala. only because of their familiarity with the vehicle that we can drive here, switch off and watch these Impala with very little effect, very little influence. And that's important when you want to watch things like the social interactions with animals, just their peaceful feeding, the allo grooming, the bonding, the body language. One doesn't get to see that when their animals are just running away all the time. And I could never understand people who had maybe come from Kruger and seen how relaxed the animals are in Kruger, and then come to East Africa and said, oh, it's so different. In Kruger the animals don't do anything, they just stand around. And I suppose it's all a matter of perspective, really. Just a field of Impala. Impala probably developed the most intricate of flag signaling coloration on their tails, and a lot of the animals that are constantly flicking their tails are flicking their tails to some degree to chase flies. In the case of Impala, not really. They don't really have a tail designed for keeping flies off of their body. It's more a body language signaling device. Hence the black stripes and the white stripes. When the tail is sitting still, it forms a particular outline, and then as soon as they start flicking their tail, especially with a little bit of white, that is enough to relax the herd. And you'll see that tail flick go right through the herd as they're feeding. And as long as they can have their head in the bushes, and as long as they can see out the corner of their eye, tail flicks around them, they know that they don't have to put their head up and look around too much. But invariably there's one or two of them looking about. They don't have a sentry as such. What's interesting is when there's something of interest, how they'll all stop flicking their tails and they'll all look up simultaneously, because they're no longer seeing that little flash of white. A signal for them to be attentive, and a signal for them to look out. And of course that's the first sign of alertness, and then of course it becomes vocal if they do see some danger. I'd say this female we're looking at now is pretty much acting like a lookout. She's standing on higher ground, chewing her cud, so she doesn't have to select any food. She can just stand there chewing, still processing food. Those are not just random markings on the back, on the behind. They do have a function. That would be another interesting thing to explore. Form and function. The beautiful big ram, probably one of the biggest in this whole herd. Getting the nods. Looks like he's catching a bit of a doze. Let's go look for those elephants. That beautiful light coming in now. The sun getting lower. Bye everyone. Mind the cats. No dogs today. There's elephant. Sorry, Hornbill. I know I'm a little bit more enthusiastic about pachyderms than hornbills at the moment. I do apologize. Lovely little herd. And I want to make my way around to the other side of them so we can get better light on them. I don't need to go anywhere now. I can stay with them for the rest of the day. I was thinking when we started the drive, we haven't seen any of the family groups coming out to the marula trees. And here we have a family group. They're going to be wandering from marula tree to marula tree. There might be more coming out of the bushes. 2 cows and 2 calves. Let's see, just on the spot here. sit and talk to them. Sharon, I'm not going to talk about that subject now, not in the presence of these people. Actually, I didn't even look. I was concentrating on where I was driving. One cow and a young bull and 2 calves. Didn't even look at him. A young teenager. Watch that tail of the cow. See if she uses it to feel where the calf is. Well, I suppose she can feel already. Oh, relax, girl. I'm not going to do anything. She's a little bit concerned. I think more because she thinks I want some of the fruit. I'm thinking that this bull is about maybe the same age as this cow, if not a little bit younger. I'm wondering if they can't be siblings. What is unusual is that these 2 calves are very similar age, and they can't both be hers. So maybe we are waiting for the rest of the herd to join up with us. This is a little unusual. And now? What's wrong? I don't think there's barely a year between those 2 calves. I think she's talking to other elephant. Got a message. Okay, let's see where they're going. That's very interesting. Sitting here quietly. She's suddenly got a bee in her bonnet. Fällt in blauen nahen Quarantin. They're heading back towards the impala herd. Almost like they're racing each other from marula tree to marula tree to get there first, to get the better fruit. Let's stop a little distant from them rather. I can see a lot of fruit on the ground. That young bull's getting quite selective. He's only picking up certain fruits, passing over others with 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. He's loading up his trunk. That's her. What am I saying? He's on the left. That's Mom. She's leaving most of the green ones. Well, welcome to Wild Earth Safari. A very special time of the year with a very famous tree and fruit, and a very famous type of activity happening underneath the tree, the likes of a small group of elephant picking up the fruits on the ground. My name is Mark. I'm glad you're joining us today. Really a special moment to sit with some elephant. The silence is incredible. I mean, we can't hear them at all. And it's these silent giants. Let me move a little bit and get a better view. Okay, this is the young male that we're watching. Well, he's a teenager. I don't need to move, they're moving into view now. The young bull with a cow and 2 calves, 2 children. I wouldn't call them calves, I'd say 7 and 8, around about. Six or 7, 7 and 8, somewhere around there. She's not a very old cow herself. She's probably only 20 odd. I think that's just to say leave my fruit alone. They're mine. She's claiming ownership. I'm especially sitting a little bit away from them because she is behaving like this. I don't want to stress her out any more than she is already. She is leaking from her temporal glands. That is some sign of stress. Good afternoon, Lorraine. Lorraine's asking if the elephants chew the fruit or they just swallow them whole. Well, Lorraine, judging by the fruit that comes out in their dung, it's a bit of both. They take a lot into their mouth and they do chew some of them. But there are a lot of the fruits that go through their system without being chewed, that come out whole, especially the greener ones. Let's move up a little termite mound here. We can sit on slightly higher ground and watch them. I can't see how we're going to get the vehicle level if we sit up here. It's getting really beautiful light now. Oh, there was a hole. It wasn't my fault. Hidden hole. The bull's getting a bit nasty. He's pushing the youngsters out. I'm sure there's more than enough fruit to go around. Come and talk to me, young man. I guess it's wishful thinking. Elephant doesn't have much more in his mind at the moment other than trying to get as many fruit into their body as possible. But welcome to Africa. This has got to be one of the nicest pictures of Africa. A giant marula tree, elephant underneath, late afternoon sun. A lot of the cloud has dissipated, so in for a pretty nice evening by the looks of things. Big thunderstorms have been moving north, far to the east. Still a bit of rain on the escarpment by the looks of things. It's going to colour the sky for sunset. If it's still there. At this rate, clouds dissipating quite fast. Good afternoon, Peggy, and thanks for your question. Interesting question, and I'm sure some people have thought of. Peggy was asking if, relax girl, she's upset, she's got tears running down her eyes, the temporal gland's leaking, she just did another false charge again, and it's coming back again for another one. No? Why are you so upset, girl? I didn't do anything. Peggy was asking if anyone is allowed to harvest the fruits of the marula here at Djuma, if it's only for the animals. Well, first part of my answer, Peggy, is it's only really for the animals. But it's also because nobody really needs to harvest the fruit here. There are so many marula trees outside the reserve, and people in the villages and the towns around the outside of the reserve, west of the reserve, harvest their own marula fruits for their own use, where there are no elephants, so there is no competition. There might be the odd baboon that they're in competition with, or odd trooper baboon. But marula trees are spread out quite widely all the way to the escarpment, so there are marula fruits everywhere. I mean, you're driving on the main routes from city to city here in what we call the Lowveld, like from Nelspruit to Hoedspruit, or Hoedspruit up into the escarpment, or Hoedspruit up to Palabora, and marula fruit lies all over the road. In fact, this time of the year, driving through places like Bushbuck Ridge down to Hazyview, you find these 2-litre plastic soda bottles being sold in numbers on the side of the road with marula beer in them. And it won't be long when we start finding little packets of roasted marula nuts on the road, little cottage industries. It's quite sad really, because the competition for agricultural land is quite steep, and so there are areas just outside the reserve where humans are ring barking the marulas to kill them off so that they can grow crops, and some of those marulas are twice the size of this big one. I will never understand human motivation other than the need to feed families and firewood. I wonder what this cow's story is, because there's no matriarch here yet. I would have thought by now if there was more to the herd. She's going to come at me again, coming around the bush. I'm not doing anything, girl. I'm sitting quietly. No need to get upset with me. Highly upset about something. I wonder if they haven't lost their matriarch recently, which would have been the mother of the other calf. Need to look at the dynamics of these two calves in relation to her. The one with the shorter tusks, the younger one, has just been suckling. I think this must be her calf, because it's been jostling for position between her and the other calf. As soon as the other one gets a bit too close, this little one pushes itself in between the two. Just their behavior seems like there's something that has happened. I'm hoping they're going to go to the dam eventually, but I would like to just stay with them. It's not much else out there this afternoon that's been found. Hi Shelley. Oh, good possibility. Shelley saying is the female behaving like this because she feels responsible for two youngsters and there isn't another female to help her. I think that's partly it, Shelley. I mean, the other part of it is that she is a young cow. And she probably doesn't know what to do in a lot of circumstances. Ordinarily, there'd be an older female that would be able to calm them down, an older female that would be able to guide them under certain circumstances. Or under different circumstances. Just watching the dung coming out of these elephants, especially that young bull. 80% of it is just whole marula fruit. See, I know she's not moving away from me because of the way she is moving. She is also, I don't know, it's hard to interpret what it is that's going on here. In one moment it looks like she's running to something or from something, and then she just stops to feed on marula fruits. And that makes me think that she's just running from one tree to another to get there first, to get the best of the fruit on the ground. Hello, kingfishers. It's not entirely unusual for a matriarch to pass on and to leave a younger female that will have to take over from her, or a female that is still quite young. Invariably it's one of her oldest daughters that will take over, or it is her oldest daughter, and in this case this might be the oldest daughter, or the oldest daughter has gone off and become a matriarch of her own group. And I'm speculating, I don't know the fact. I can't say that I've seen this group before. I'd have to look through my photos. I should be taking a few photos of her and him, just to try and match up with others. But I'm confident, not fairly confident, I'm confident that our presence isn't stressing them out at all. Every now and then she does sort of do a bit of a mock charge. Gosh, Vicky, hello Vicky. Vicky says there's a dark spot above her forehead. It doesn't look natural. I'm not too sure what you're referring to. That little lump between her eyes could be a little lump of mud. Or maybe if you could be a bit more specific, Vicky. I'm not too sure what you mean. I'm not seeing anything unnatural. And she was wearing a small patch of leaves on her forehead earlier, stuck to her forehead. Let's move again. We're sitting in an angle to the light that's not the greatest. Let me just move a little bit further to the west and see if I can see that a little bit better. Hello, Charlie Tuna. Charlie the Tuna. How's Nemo today? Well, Charlie wants to know if I'm hearing any noises from these elephants. No, haven't heard a peep out of them. I haven't seen them stop and listen either for other elephants who might be talking. Which makes me wonder, or confirms my suspicion, that there aren't any others around here at the moment. Well, she's not even listening to anything. She's not stopping for a moment. Now she is. Now there she is. That's listening. Lifting her head, fanning her ears out. That was listening to something, but that was pointing her head at the lodge, probably listening to something at the lodge. She doesn't have any distinctive markings. She's got a tiny little nick out of that left ear that I can see. Tusks that are not very distinctive. Beautiful light now. Both these calves are very clingy. Hi Lisa. Hard to answer your question, Lisa, only because I haven't seen this group. Or if it is part of another group, I'm not too sure who it is. But Lisa's asking, could she be a new matriarch to the group, and that's why she's testing me to see how far she can push me. Well, I don't think that's the case at all. I mean, for all intents and purposes, she is the matriarch of this group. She is the only cow amongst the small group, so that would make her the matriarch. New or not, I wouldn't be able to tell you. But the fact that she is young makes her a little nervous because she doesn't have... There are probably things she has yet to learn, things that she would need an older cow to teach her. Situations that would arise that she would need to know how to react to. I think she's only doing what she was doing because of the marula fruit. I think that's mostly what it is. You know, if there was a case of she wanted to push me off or because she was angry with me, there would be a lot of trumpeting and she would be a little bit more vocal. I think the fact that she was just rushing at us like that and throwing her trunk, it was kind of a case of it was a body language to say, go away. And I think that go away was more a case of, these are my, my fruit, leave me and my family, let us feed, than anything else. She hasn't shown any other signs of not wanting me around the way some elephants do when they will trumpet and kick up dust. But really hard to tell. Not knowing her history, not knowing where they've come from, not knowing what has happened in the last couple of days. Now, they have moods, much like we do. And Master species is a bit moody today. I'm looking at it, I'm still trying to find this spot on her forehead, and there is a patch of mud there. There's still a leaf on her nose just below her eyes. There's a crease between her eyes on her forehead that is like a long dark stripe. That's just also a bit of mud in a crease, in a crack, in a wrinkle. Heading towards the lodge. There's that white pole you can see behind them. That is our main broadcast antenna. That's what's bringing you our signal. They're heading down towards the lodge, and I'm actually going to follow them just to see, because they might go through just past the lodge down to the dam, in which case we'll need to move around to the other side of the lodge. They're facing Impala now. Somehow, I don't know, she knows where she's going, but she's heading straight towards our camp and the workshop. She must be able to hear everyone there. I think this might be quite nice to just... No, we're not going to get it, they're moving. I was going to say, try and get the Impala with the elephant in the background. Not easy, because they're moving back to the west. The Impala are eating marula fruit now. They're almost like a dog eating chewing gum. Got to tilt their head back to keep the marula fruit at their molars. Okay, let's just get closer to the yellies. As they move off, they're going to maybe go up towards Gallagher shortcut. Oh, there's some zebra coming out. I haven't seen zebra for a couple of days. Coming out onto the open for the evening. Zebra are watching the elephants. Let's look at the zebra coming. The lone zebra, probably a stallion. From this angle, get the light coming through his mane and pretend we're ignoring the elephant. Oh, now he's behind bushes. That was nice, the way he was coming out into the sunlight. Okay, never mind. If I move, we'll see him better. Well, I can hear people in the staff camp at the lodge. I'm sure these elephants can. Come, follow us. See what this little boy is up to. lone zebra. Could only have been split up from the rest of the herd. I think it's actually a mare. And she's shy. Bye bye, zebra. I won't follow you. Hello Glynis in Cape Town. How's Cape Town today? I had a lovely time in the Cape recently. Beautiful weather. Till I got down to Walker Bay and then it started raining. Glynis wants to know if the matriarch died here, would the carcass be on Djuma and would guards go out and search for it? Glynis, only if we really knew that was the case. And I was just speculating. I'm not saying that that is what has happened. I have no idea whether that is what happened or it could have happened in the past. The thing is that the elephant carcass is huge. I mean, the vulture activity and hyena activity will probably bring in lion too. Everybody would know about it. So there definitely hasn't been an elephant dying recently. Giving marulas a break and eating something else for a change. So I honestly couldn't really tell you. I mean, certainly nobody would need to go and search for it. We'd be able to find it just by the vulture activity. And yes, we would have to call in the authorities because they would have to come in and assess whether it was a natural death or an incident of poaching. And then, of course, to prevent people coming in and stealing tusks, the tusks are removed and given to whoever the landowner is. I mean, this could have happened, could have been in Kruger a month ago that they lost the matriarch, if that is the case. I really couldn't tell you what the history is. It's kind of hard to tell when you see an animal for the first time. You're not used to me yet, are you? After being with you for an hour. You see, just look, those calves would normally give her a little bit of space. They were wide open ground. They are really clingy. And then she looks at us and she looks like she's scared and she runs a little bit and then she stops and look, now she's grazing towards us. So it's very hard to ascertain what her history, what her story is.
Maybe she's just being a woman.
Yeah, as Kat says, maybe she's just being a woman. I hate you, I hate you, I hate you, I love you, I love you, I love you.
Yeah.
Go away, go away, go away, come back. Get out of my life, come back. Certainly been interesting, that's for sure, watching them. I think has been far better than driving around looking for something that isn't there. But yeah, look at those calves. As soon as she moves, they're right there at her heels. See the sky going a little bit pink behind them. Sun has gone behind that big storm cloud in the west. Let's move again. Hello, Peggy. Peggy's saying, do I think this group will join another group of elephant and blend in with them? Peggy, your guess is as good as mine. Going back to where they came from. Who knows? Maybe they're part of a breeding herd that has headed up Zoe's Road, and they know that there are marula fruits here and they've come along to quarantine. I've often said you can never make assumptions by just seeing an animal for a few minutes out of its lifetime. She's heading up towards Gallagher shortcut. He's still here on the open area. There she goes up the road, actually making quite good progress. Who knows, if we follow her, perhaps we'll find that she's just been spending a bit of time away from the herd. Maybe there's more of a herd up here somewhere. It could just be that she is already part of a herd. Joins up with the herd now. It's not a case of her joining up with the herd, it's a case of her just returning to the group. She just suddenly chose a direction and she's walking in it. It could be that she has been listening to other elephants. I haven't heard any audible rumbles that would be relatively close distant talking. Longer distant talking is when they're using infrasound, lower frequencies. And I haven't heard any of that. But I think this is about the time to leave her be, because she's heading into this kind of vegetation, and unless, well, we could maybe go back onto Wetela Access Road and head up that way a little bit to see if there are any other elephant up there. But I think it is time to leave her be. I'd like to think that she's making her way to the rest of her group. That she just decided to spend a bit of time eating marula fruit. That is likely the case. I've taken a really good look at her while we've been with her. Taken a good few photographs of both of her ears, her tusks, her face. She's got a very narrow face. Her temples are a little bit sunken. See, she's disappeared. I'm not even going to bother looking for her. I don't even want to stress her out even more by crashing through bushes here. We're on the power line. I'm going to come out onto Wetela Access Road. and we'll drive up the access road a little bit just to see if we can't see some other elephant perhaps. Let's see, maybe I can go this way around, then I don't have to break spider webs. A lovely sunset occurring in the west there. Might be able to see that a bit better. Oh, there's spiders everywhere here. Pardon? Oh, yeah, there's spiders. Well, I managed to just this one there. Gonna get the antenna. There we go. Hello, April. April is asking if I've ever seen elephant make a circle to defend their calves, and under what circumstances would they do that? Well, I've seen them do that loosely, but not in full defensive mode. But yes, they're known to have done that in days of hunting. I've never hunted, I will never, so I only read accounts of it. And I guess in situations where lion or hyena are trying to get to youngsters, I suppose. See the size of Zingi's paws with him running. Yeah. Yeah, well, that is running hard. Let's go up to Sandy Patch. Should have a beautiful sunset from Sandy Patch. Who knows what else we might find. Well, that was lovely. I mean, that was really humbling and really peaceful and wonderful experience with them. Lots of elephant tracks here. There has been a big herd here, so I'm sure that they are just part of this herd that have separated for a short time. A lot of elephant tracks that crossed over, and I'm sure if we had the time, we didn't have, oh, maybe Patrick can have a look in the morning, but a group of elephant that have headed south towards Zoe's Road. Huge group of elephants. At least 6 to 8 individuals in that group, that set of tracks. Ephraim, come in. Oh. That radio's working. No, it's not. Ephraim, come in. I can ask him tonight. I'll see him tonight. Probably have dinner with him. He must be a little bit too far away to be picked up by this handheld radio. Hello, Eleanor. Is it unusual to see elephants walking in single file holding each other's tails? I remember Sally in New York asking me that question. I would say, yeah, it is kind of unusual. They do that. I mean, they do walk in single file, and every now and then one will grab another one's tail. It's not very common that you'll see it, but they do it from time to time. But it is, they do tend to walk in single file when they're going from one place to another. Hence, single pathways that we find in the book, in the bush, pathways with very distinct elephant paths, very straight from a particular place, invariably to a river or to water. Let's see. Pardon?
Sounds like the scene from the Jungle Book.
Yeah, sounds like the scene from the Jungle Book. No, that's Pink. Got all the wrong tunes in my head. I was thinking of the Baby Elephant Walk. That's quite a tune. Something like that. Baby Elephant Walk. Excuse me, Dove. We're on our way to sunset. I hope we're gonna be okay here. Giraffe tracks. Ooh. Hello, Luries. Oh, berries. Raisin bush berries. Glimpse of the sun from here. Oh, actually, Kate, hang on before you do anything. If I go a little bit forward, you'll have that golden orb, and you can pull focus to with a bit of luck. Franklins and hornbills having dust bath in front of us. Yes, good night, children. Maybe more sky, less ground. And the spider. Yeah, you're too high. For me it works because I'm lower down, so I can see the spider against the sky. For you it's not going to work because it's going to be against the ground, against the background of grasses and trees.
Oh, what's that?
Yeah, that's her. But from my angle it just looks like a spider suspended in space because you can't see her web. Oh, you can from that angle, but from me, because I'm seeing it against the sky, I'm not. Look at those mountains in the distance. Look at that. That's pretty. Too dark. The close of yet another beautiful day here in Africa. I hope some of you will come and enjoy this one day. And I know that a lot of you maybe can't. And that's what we're here for, to bring it to you in as best a way as we can. Let's take a ride down towards Impala Plains. We might catch another glimpse of that sky from another angle. Look at that, that is stunning. Birds have been fighting over this little dust bowl in front of us. There are currently a couple of Franklins in it. Just this one here. There. 3 Franklins in it. 2 hornbills in it having a dust bath. And there were a couple of grey lories or go-away birds. Actually 3 of them trying to chase the Franklins off. Prime dust bath. Sand. I'll just, excuse me children, I'll make my way through here. Continue to enjoy. Wow, look at that. And then there's this here. The sun shining on that huge cumulus cloud building up in the south. Okay, there, that's nice. Little gap through the trees. And the dead tree to offset the sky and the fire behind it. Mostly. Just needs an eagle on it. Maybe a bit dark. No, too dark. There, that's nice. Okay, time for another sunset shot. Let's see what else we can find. Another dead tree, another patch through the trees. Oh, what happened there? Night. See how suddenly night falls in the bushveld? Okay, we'll make a bit of daylight again. There you go. And that up ahead of us, just that tree in front of that storm cloud, it's pretty. Uh-huh. Hello, Rosie. Rosie noticed that elephants' memories are between the front legs. I don't think I'll use the term that Rosie used, but let's be scientific about it. Memories. Elephant cleavage. Yes, Rosie. Elephants do have. That is quite a nice observation that you made there. An elephant's memories are between the front legs, much like all the primates, apes, monkeys, humans. Front legs. We've got front legs. Oh, look, elephants. This could be the rest of the herd. And what's that under the bush there? Termite mound. No, baby elephant. See, this could be the rest of the herd, and she's kind of got a little bit wayward. Well, here we go. Oh, sorry, spider. This must be the rest of the herd. There's a very tiny little baby in here. New, well, just weeks maybe. This is the cow and the youngsters we saw on the cut line the other day. On Buffalo's a cut line. Look at this little thing. It's smaller than an impala. And there's one of its aunties coming to make sure that it's okay. As close as we'll get. Yes, funny enough, Rosie, bats also have their memories on their chests. They suckle their young, if I'm not mistaken. With the young clinging to them. Oh, that is just too beautiful. What a wonderful way to end the day. I'm guessing that maybe, it could have even been that she was separated because of a car or something coming up Vuyatela Access Road when all these elephants were around Vuyatela Access. Car maybe gave her a fright and she ran in the opposite direction. But she should be able to talk to these elephants. Hello, little boy. There's a big mama. Wow. She would be the matriarch maybe. Big lady coming up behind this quarry bush. Huge tusks. See, now we're in a situation where we've got elephants all around us and we don't know where to look first. Mom with calf. Look how tiny that is. That is a few weeks. I want milk, mommy. She doesn't know that you can't drink while you're walking. Beautiful big lady, this matriarch. Hello, little boy. Get a photo of this matriarch. Come on, shutter speed's too slow. Oh, way too much static on the radio now. Can't hear you, Pat. Look, let's just if we can quickly look at the sky just to see how it's changed. Whoops. Fire in the sky keeps on turning. No, it's wheel in the sky. Well, I'm hoping we're going to see more of this herd. Okay. Let's go and have a look at this big lady. Beautiful colours in the sky now. Can't go in a gap between trees for golden orbs. Relax, testicular. Alright, I'm sorry, Mrs. Golden Orb. Let's see, maybe. Make our way here. See, there's a prevailing southerly wind on the north side of all the trees is where most of the spiders are. Managed to avoid most of them now. Hello, Mrs. Elephant. Let's move up to the big lady. I want to say goodbye to her and thank her for her patience and her understanding. Mamacita. Muchas gracias. Okay, need to move it in. they're heading off into thicker Gwari bush that's as big as them, and I guess there's one over there. Always sad to say goodbye to them, to you. But it's been a fantastic afternoon, been really peaceful, it's been memorable, it's been humbling, it's been, look at that sky, what a lovely day. My name is Mark, and thank you very much for joining myself and Kat this afternoon. You've been with us on Wild Earth Safari here at Djuma Game Reserve, and I hope you're going to enjoy it tomorrow with Patrick, and we'll see you soon. Bye for now.